Alright, so welcome to this little update video. Hopefully this will be relatively short, but I'm expecting it to be around 15 minutes. Yeah, there's a good bit to go over. So anyway, probably the main thing that I did in between with the last episode, as I'm going to call it, is that I totally redid my pizza factory. After episode 5, I had a little bit of a brainwave as far as how I can make this a bit more efficient and work a little bit better, and also not have any stoppages, which was something I was running into, and I'll go over that as to why. But anyway, we have 3 drawer controllers up here now. That's handling all the various items that I need for crafting the pizza. So we have the meats here, the cooked and the raw. Then we have the servo here exporting out in round robin style to the controller, the main crafter that crafts the pizzas, as well as the furnaces. And each one of these has a filter. The furnaces only accept one kind of meat. Main reason for that is the servo being on round robin, if we didn't have the filters, would have a potential of sending, say, beef to all of them. So we're only crafting beef at a time, so we need to wait for the beef to get done before we make the chicken or the pork. So that just prevents that bottleneck. So, and as you can see, they craft pretty fast. I could upgrade them to resonant and make them even faster, but I don't see the point. There really isn't a reason. These keep up with how fast is they exporting out anyway, so not worried about it. So anyway, they craft up, they export out to the top, and they go right by the crafter. If the crafter needs any cooked meats, it automatically splits off into the crafter, and otherwise it goes into this ender chest, which is basically where all the ingredients are being exported to, is the ender chest here with triple light blue, with a couple exceptions, which I'll get over to when I get over there. So anyway, this crafter is pretty much set up exactly the same way as it was before, except now it only activates when there isn't a redstone signal. And that's how I have a automatic shutoff for most of the stuff on the system. Obviously the meat is not set up to that right now. It's still set up to a manual shutoff, but I will be setting that up to an automatic system soon. But anyway, and then this thing only exports out the pizza. And how the shutoff is controlled is with this drawer right here. It has a redstone max upgrade, which allows it to send out a redstone signal based on how full it is. So once it gets up to about 2, which is close to 5,000 pizzas, it will send a redstone signal out and shut off all the crafters. So that's basically how the shutoff works. Pretty simple. And if we head down here, here is the ender chest that everything's being exported out of. So we have 5 servos on. This one right here is just exporting out trash and putting in a trash can. And then everything else is exporting out very specific items from, the separate items that we need for the pizzas. So that allows the ender chest to be emptied in a relatively efficient and fast way. And may eventually switch it up to having like one ender chest for the meats, one ender chest for the vegetables, and go from there. But at the same time, I don't think it's really necessary. I won't really know until I have, it crafting pizza for days. As it is, now that I have 5,000 pizza, it's shut off, so I'm not having to worry about that. But anyway, moving on. We got the crushers are staying the same, except we don't have the furnaces on top. The reason why I don't have the furnaces, if you remember, the servos were originally pulling out just raw pork and the trash, essentially. And then it was supposed to be auto-exporting the chicken and the beef and some of the pork up to the furnaces that were above them. The problem I was running into is every once in a while the crushers stopped exporting stuff to the redstone furnace and would get backed up. And the redstone furnace was thinking that it had items in it, so it was running, but it wasn't doing anything. So I was having to come back here, pull a stack of, say, chicken out, and put it into the furnace to re-kickstart it to get it working again. And that would be acceptable, except for the fact that it stopped, like maybe 5 or 10 minutes later doing the same exact thing. So that's why I'm doing it like this now, where it's pulling everything out of the crushers and it into that end chest there. And what that also allows me to do is, I probably could have done this before, but it made it a little bit easier for me to set up food ducts for handling the essence. So between this and the Cursed Earth farm, I could probably have my mob duplicator running all the time if I wanted to. So, yeah, there's that, and it also cleans up the ducts a lot, so it looks pretty nice. And I could shorten this where I have like the ender chest like up here or something like that, but I got lazy, I guess, and decided not to move this. Anyway, upgraded the power line to resonant. The main reason being is that the furnaces were running out of power. Now that I don't have the furnaces there, I could keep with the leadstone, but since I already moved it to resonant, I'm going to keep it. There's no point in changing it out now. Eventually, I may change them all out to the cryo, like I started doing with the main power line here. If you don't know, the cryo stabilized flux duct has no limitation to how much RF you can put through it. So if you want to put 1 billion RF per tick through it, you can. So there's that. Anyway, moving on, we have the water and milk production. This is probably the main reason why I decided to change my pizza factory. And not because I was having issues with round robin. I wasn't. I was having issues with the infinite loop I inadvertently made with the drawers. Remember, I had the 2 drawers here, one for fresh milk, one for fresh water, and they were pulling out and putting into the crafter, but they were also pulling out and putting back into the drawer. So, and that created an infinite loop where I was constantly seeing the counts going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, continually. So I got tired of seeing that. So I separated it out. And what that will allow me to do is, if I really want to, I can have the water running right now, because this is the main bottleneck. The water is slow. So unfortunately, you only get 1 fresh water per bucket of water, which means that with the water, it's not coming in nearly as fast as the rest of the materials. So I may set up another water production facility if I feel it's necessary, but at the same time, I have 5,000 pizzas. I don't think it's a big deal. So there's that. But yeah, this also prevents any potential possibility that the round robin will mess up, because there's only one thing it sends it to. So yeah, that's how I'm setting this up. And of course, we got the auto shut off, and they all export out to the same ender chest. The vegetables, nothing really changed with them except that I put a shut off on the crafters, so that once we're full, they just stop crafting the seeds, and eventually the fields get cleared and the sowers don't have any seeds to plant. So, but with them being shut off, they have plenty of materials to craft the seeds. So anyway, there's the pizza factory. If there's anything that you have any questions on it, feel free to let me know in the comments down below, and I will answer it to the best of my ability. And we'll move on from there. So, between episodes, I also switched over to refined storage. That would turn out to be a lot less of a painful transition than I anticipated. I anticipated there being a problem moving from ME drives to refined storage drives. That turned out to be really, really simple. I found an easy way to do it. I may even put a video out about it because it was that simple, but I didn't see any information really out there about it. So, yeah, if time permits, I will probably put a video out about it. It could also help people not only from moving from applied logistics to refined storage, but also say they want to move stuff from their ME drives to storage drawers, for example. This way would allow you to do that. So anyway, we got a bunch of storage monitors up here. Eventually, I'm thinking I'm going to be changing this entire wall out to storage monitors. Main reason being is I like how these look. And spoiler alert, episode 6, I'm doing auto crafting. So it'd be kind of nice to be able to monitor a lot of the various stuff that comes from that. And the storage monitors are cool themselves, as I have a storage monitor here for the pizza, as well as down below next to the pizza factory. And you can come up here and you can pull pizza out. You can put a pizza in. You can even pull out a stack if you want. So that's pretty cool. And that goes for any of these items. So that's pretty sweet. And with that, if I'm going to change this out to a wall, I'll probably be moving like my crafting monitor, my grids, and my drives over to next to this multi-block structure that I have here from Reborn Storage. And what this guy does is it holds crafting patterns. And it's a multi-block structure, so as you craft it, you can determine how much you can store and how fast you can craft items, of the patterns that you put in there. And the way I set mine up is I have 20 pages worth of storage in it. Each page holds 72 patterns, so I have plenty of storage. And I've been just putting patterns in as I need them. So there's a lot more to add, but it's a start. But with this mod, which I had forgot to mention in episode 5, we added this when we added refined storage, but with this mod, it also allows us to craft bigger drives. So normally, if I were to say I have the max tier drives in here, you would think, okay, you have 64K drives, which is true to a point, but you would also think that I'm getting about 50% full. Thing is, Reborn Storage, we also have the ability to craft these 16,384K storage disks, or 16 million items I can put in there. So with about 260,000 items, I am not even 1% full. So yeah, that's the thing. So that's refined storage. Yeah, I also created a tree farm. Yeah, this thing I'm gonna have to redo. For one kind of major reason, and it's not because it didn't produce wood. Well, it did really well. This is not even 10 minutes of it running, and it got over 100,000 wood. So that's not the reason. The reason being is that with the farm, the way I set it up, if it's running, I go from 120 frames per second to 10. So it's a frame rate killer, and so I need to rethink it and redo it. But that'll be for another episode, I'm afraid. But yeah, that was one of the things that were in the last episode, is I put in a tree farm, but I basically tore it back down because it is a frame rate killer. I don't want a farm like that kills frames that bad. So anyway, I also set up a sugarcane farm, very basic. Nothing really to show there except that it does really well. That's about it. Oh yeah, and one more thing that I do want to show is in between episode 5 and the last episode, we also added refined storage add-ons, which allows me to craft a wireless crafting grid like I have here, as well as this little guy right here, the Internet Wireless Transmitter. And this guy is pretty nice. It doesn't work cross-dimensionally by itself, but I think I can get it to work in other dimensions using the network transmitters. But that'll be something that I'll be experimenting around between episodes 6 and 7, probably. But anyway, there's that. And then the very last thing that I want to show in this little update video was a very minor thing, but worth showing anyway, is this open area here that I couldn't figure out what I want to put in here. I decided to put all the mob drops I want to keep, as well as the mob heads. And the mob heads are here purely for cemetery reasons for the doors. That's it. I may change these out to Java barrels, just for looks reasons. As far as functionality, I'm fine with the jar controllers, but the Java barrels, assuming it works the way I want it to, I can make it become a cool looking wall back here, and would make putting some seating back here make a little more sense. Right now, this is just kind of a random thought. Whether I keep with that, we'll see. But anyway, I think that's going to go ahead and do it for this update video. So hopefully you guys appreciated it at least. And I will see you guys in the next one.